Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. Pew, pew, pew. As always, I'm your host, Mike. Hello, how's it going? Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hey, what's up? And we're just going to hop back in, play some more Last Epoch, have some fun. If this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you with us. Please put any questions you have for me about the game in chat at Last Epoch Game in front. As always, we stream for charity. Above my head. We're fighting to end homelessness right now. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Nailed it. How's it going, everybody? It's been a whole week since I've been here. I know that's what we always do, but just got done with a little play test for the next patch. Oh, it's feeling good. We're tightening stuff up earlier than usual, so there's gonna be a little bit more time to make sure everything's bug fixed and smooth before we roll out the patch, which is nice. But I'm finding deadlines are creeping up on me a little faster than normal. I've got this time frame in my head, and it's stuff's showing up fast. I'm like, oh, I gotta get stuff done. And losing a week and a bit for Gamescom to go to Germany is, yeah, deadlines are creeping up. But I'm very excited. When's the patch? We don't have a date yet available to announce. Sorry. Whoa. Hurting here. Although I was playing earlier was so much more OP than this. Hello, everybody that's saying hi. Glad to have you all here. There's your objective. Another question just asked about a couple hours ago on Discord, but you said you guys had planned around slower leech rate and ended up not finding a good spot for it. I feel like it could be super strong stat for really high dose builds, since they can just almost instantly go from 0 to 100 where they can't get big hits off, but if the downtime can get quite vulnerable depending on the build. Yeah, I mean, I think that leech is already really strong in general, and I'm not sure leech needs any help, I guess maybe a better way to put that. And usually you're not in a dangerous situation unless you're in a situation where you can also leech as well. Oh yeah, sorry, Tilfter, I did not see that question. If anyone has a question for me, please put at Last Epoch Game in front of it, and I will see it. It'll pop out at me. I don't know if that one did or not. Hi, Lala. How you doing, bud? Welcome back. And you're on a little bit of a vacay there. Throwing damage, pshaw. I really want to hammer out this monolith, and I want to try and get into empowered. Partially just because I picked the left side, which is silly, and I don't have any of my blessings from the right side of the tree that are the power blessings. So I kind of just, I'm like, oh, let's handicap myself, apparently. Meteor shower. What does your Git pipeline look like when working on the game? I mean, there's it's pretty complicated. Usually, individual features will get their own branch. No merging to main without a PR. Large projects will sometimes get like branches that spawn other branches. Ugh, rough. And branches that are like detached for a long time will be will get main merged back into them periodically. I guess that's what you're asking. It's if you're used to using Git on any other project, it's basically the same thing. Do you feel like movement skills are in the spot you want for the game? Number one reason why I personally prefer PoE over D4, D2 Grim Dawn Last Epoch is the speed and flexibility of movement. I wish LE was a bit quicker. Yeah, overall I do think they're in a good spot. I don't think that we'll ever see movement skills in Epoch at quite the same rate that you see in PoE currently. We do intentionally slow things down a touch. And I think that's pretty intentional. Having said that, there is a new movement skill coming that I do love, which I was getting a chance to play around with earlier today. That was it was really nice. Little animation glitch in it right now though. When you come out of it, just right, we'll fix this before it launches for sure. But when you come out of it, it puts you into like a T pose basically, not quite, but it puts you into your idle pose when you come out of it, and it looks really funny. Oh, that's a lot of deeps. I think I might be like just under geared for this. Did I take something that's really dumb? Yeah, the mark for death was not smart. It's my necrotic res. Ooh, okay, that's a problem. Okay. I might be a little underpowered for this. Do I need to like look at my stuff and make some smart decisions instead of just mucking about? I think I might need to switch these out for proper boots. Because that was a cool experiment, but it did not work out for us. I had some decent boots that I was rocking before. I hope I didn't just throw them away. I may have just chucked them. Sometimes wouldn't be terrible. Like, we are doing a lot of lightning damage, but like, until we get that staff, it's kind of meh. Ones? No, those are not the ones. These are probably the ones I was wearing. Which are probably actually better. Those have potential. Let's see what happens. Dex, no. Int, okay. Necrotic res, yeah. These are our new boots. I know you can't actually see this. Sorry about that. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry, one moment. Please stay on the line. Your call is important to us, and we will be answered in the order it was received. Just a little upgrading on our stuff here. Oh, I should have tried to seal those. What was I doing? Tons of fortune potential left. Whatever. Yeah. What's our crit strike avoidance at? 151. Okay, so we're way over. We don't even need those. Just something we can take it off else. We have two. We have two exalted affixes for crit strike avoidance here. That's funny. It's like, I refuse to be crit. Whatever, I think it's still better. Yeah, no more mark for death stuff. Yeah, sure. Alright, let's get back to some questions. Not too bad. I made some cake, but you're not having any of it. Yeah, you already told me I wasn't getting any of your cake. I'm already devastated. You just gotta run salt in the wounds. Wondering what automatic testing looks like when you're working on something like this. Yeah, so most of the automated testing that we can have, we do have like a build pipeline that has automatic testing for basically if a build is gonna work or not. So there's lots of things that can cause builds to fail. And so we have automated testing for those checks, but so much of it has to be checked manually by a person. And we are increasing the automation on a lot of things we're doing. I think we just added like automated character creation system for testing better. And so there's like a nightly build that happens to just like make sure everything's solid, that QA checks every day, that sort of stuff. So if we do end up with a problem, we're never like really far behind fixing it. Will gear visuals eventually exist? Well, yes, they do. But, okay, like right now, if I equip a helm that literally just shows a skull, it shows a basic helm. Or as the skins will be for, will there be transmog? Thank you, Heavy! Resub, 27 months. What's up? Us when we go to Germany soon? Yeah? Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much. 27, that's a long time. I'll get back to this question here. I am pumped about Germany. Very excited. Yeah, very excited. Anyways, what was I asking? Oh yeah, about skill visuals. Yeah. So lots of stuff already does have the proper visuals. So there are some things that do and some things that don't, and as we go, we are just going to keep expanding that and just keep adding more and more stuff. So yes, more and more stuff will get added to that list of the proper visuals are showing up, and it's just, it takes a long time, and so instead of just waiting and doing it and releasing them all at once, as we make them, we release them. That's all it is. As for like skins, like visual skins, like I'm wearing one right now, as you can see. This is an MTX visual skin. Oh, don't die. And so that's an option as well that people have if they don't like how their gear looks, they can do that. As for transmog system, yeah, there will be some sort of transmog system. Do I know exactly what it's going to look like right now and can share it? No, I'm sorry, I don't know the details. But I know we've talked about keeping that pretty friendly. However that works. But that's not set up yet. Llama! Resub for 20 months in a row. Wow. There we go. Getting close to that 2-year mark. Oh, there's a message there. It's long. It's hard to read from up there. Okay, I can do that. We'll send a photo of the cake to taunt you, since you're taunting us with anecdotes about new stuff in LOC. Don't quite work right in any amusing way. All right. You know, that's fair. That's perfectly fair. I accept my punishment. Oh, come on. I think I've heard some talk about maybe there being changes / added features to move density. I think it's supposed to be monster density. Is this true? I think that's monster density, but I don't know. Is this true? If so, is there anything you can share? Would love to, if you could somehow get a screen full of mobs to blow up. I mean, there's like the arena can be a screen full of mobs to blow up, no problem already. There's not a huge change to that happening right away, but I think you'll start to see us a shift towards more and more as we go on. But it's not going to be like a light switch. One day it's 10 and the next day it's 50. You won't see that. And 100 bits. Where's your invite for Gamescom? I don't know. I'm not in charge of that. Oh, that was calculated. Is it the gold? No, it's the siege. It's not the siege golem. It's the profane flesh. More questions. I'm gonna answer them. Are there any plans to address Flame Reave and Upheaval? I don't know, baby. The gameplay isn't even fair compared to other more meta skills. Flame Reave is not even capable of 200 in the arena. Basically, no one even looks at Upheaval now. I mean, Upheaval. Isn't there a Werebear Upheaval build now? I could be wrong about that. As for just balancing skills in general, yeah, we take a look at them. Pretty well every patch we make balance changes, and there will be there's quite often things that have incidental balance changes. So like it could be something as simple as like adding a new unique item to the game, or like like just adding new skills to the game can cause other skills to become more powerful, and or like passive changes. So like it's not always a direct like, hey, we're gonna buff this skill in particular. Sometimes it's like an archetype that gets buffed. Sometimes it's a class as a whole that gets buffed. So there's sometimes changes that we don't even realize are gonna happen. But we do try and bring the ones that are severely underperforming back into the realm of fun. I don't have any specific balance changes that I can share with you. I'm getting my ass handed to me today. I don't know what's happening. I'm just so overconfident from earlier today. My idols not being symmetrical is bothering you? I'm trying to see if I can make them even less symmetrical. There we go. Is that better? Because I'm the worst. You know what? I might take a break from Monoliths and actually go to a dungeon. Let's go have fun on a dungeon. Let's do that. I think I may also be realizing why I haven't done this, because I probably don't have a high enough level 1 unlocked to actually get something good out of it. Let's give it a shot. Oh. We're going to the basic one. Let's do it. Gotta go. I think that's a repeat question, or I scrolled up. One of the two. I need to know who is responsible for the Covenant of Dominion mob. Nothing serious, just a chat. I have no idea. Any thoughts on a rare chase glyph that would offer a lucky... Oh, come on, Mike. Pay attention to what's on screen. That offer a lucky roll when the affix rerolling. Any thoughts on a rare chase glyph that would offer a lucky roll when using the affix rerolling runes? Lavelle, you can't wait for 9210. I don't know what that means. Oh, this is what's happening. Come on. Lucky roll when using the affix for rerolling runes. Let's see. Refinement. This one. So talking about a glyph to augment this. Oh, to like just buff the rate that this gives. Yeah, so usually not always, but usually we try to make the glyphs work in as many situations as possible. If they're going to affect a rune. If that makes any sense. So most of the glyphs are affecting shards only. And or if they affect runes, they affect basically all the runes. Or most of them anyways. And that's kind of the general thing we try and do. It doesn't always work that way. Because it's basically just like a stronger version of that rune by having two items to combine together. And then you kind of you end up in a weird situation where you feel like you don't want to even try and use that rune at all unless you have the corresponding glyph to go with it. And then if you get those glyphs without that rune, then they're just useless they're just completely useless without that rune specifically. So if we had a more generic way to do it, which we could, you could make that a little bit more generic to apply to more runes simultaneously. And I think that would be the way we would try and do it if we were going to do something like that. Oh, making me go around, are ya? Ooh, is there... Oh, there's a way that way. Okay, sweet. The moment of like, is there no way through it all? Well, I've really gone the wrong way, haven't I? Just like as wrong as I possibly could have done. Oh well. What? Here we go. Are there any plans for an I walk and things die around me item type build? Hala Death's Oath and PoE. I mean, there are. We do have things like that already for sure. There's usually like some sort of interaction that you need to do to maintain that, but any sort of like there's a Swarmblade build that does that. There's a mage build that does that too. It's not as good. But yeah, that style of stuff does exist and will continue to exist. Any hoodies yet? There's not. I'm like just as frustrated about that as you are, I promise. My mom's like tried to buy the hat that I have off of me for this game. It's like, I want that hat. Like, I only have one! All right, want to buy a Last Epoch hoodie so I can wear it to the office. Yeah, I saw a mock-up for one. I saw a digital mock-up for one. Um, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of merch. I was like, yes! I'll take one of everything. So I have faith. It will arrive at some point. Exalted jewelry. Yes, please. Do you have a backlog of ideas for future seasons mapped out? Not specifically like, hey, this season's gonna be this mechanic and this season's gonna be this mechanic, or anything like that. But we do have tons of ideas that we've got that are like on the list of things that'll happen, and so yeah, like there's a bunch of season ideas we've got in a big document, and there's like a couple that were like these ones will probably be earlier than the other ones type thing, but we won't have when it comes time to like pick the next one and design the next one, for at each stage we'll like go back to that list and look at new ideas and things like that. So they're not set in stone, but yeah, we've got a ton of ideas. Ideas are the last thing we're lacking in in every category. I am squishy. What's my void res like? What? 20%? So good. Uh-oh, I messed that up. Come on back, Jilra. Did I manage to get here before she left? Yeah, I did. Wow! Pop, pop. So there's our guaranteed LP ring. Ooh, it's not bad. I mean, we might be able to use that to pull an affix off of. It's kind of whatever. Okay, do we have any way to make a decent exalted item here? Or legendary item here? Do we have anything? It's got lightning damage. It's not nothing. It's not much either. Yeah. No, no. This doesn't work. We're kind of not a lot here, eh? I think we just do this. And slap some sweet exalted ring in there. Okay, let's make a ring that we're gonna use. Which one are we gonna try and grab? Like I really just want that spell damage. Like it's kind of spell damage or bust at this point, isn't it? I mean, given what we're trying to do, lightning damage is not bad either. Okay. Let's go slap these ones in and see what happens. Also bug here. It's not happening. Oh well. This is a bug someone asked me to look at, and I was seeing if it was going to happen. Don't seem to be working. This is the important step of the Eternity Cache that for some reason is really hard to figure out, is that you actually have to time travel to the other era to collect it. Necrotic resistance. Not great. Our necrotic resistance is fine now because I added this. Maybe this is just pointless because we can put this on. Yeah, okay, let's do this and these. More health vitality. That's what we need. And you also can leave this way. And if you're in the campaign and you leave this way, this actually skips you pretty far ahead in the campaign. Every dungeon does this. Little PSA. All right. Is the daily modifiers on dungeons something you guys like and want to keep something up for change, or something up for change? Since right now, if you want to play optimally, you kind of just want to wait until the modifier is something good and then use up all your keys in one day. I personally, I really like the having that daily modifier. I can see there are definitely like counter arguments to having it, and it's not perfect by any means, but overall I've been really happy with it, and I think it just helps keep things just a little bit more interesting, and just like it's a little fresh, just a little different every time. I think if you're playing a lot and I don't know how big of a difference it makes because you generally have a fair few keys. It might be a bigger problem than I think. But I know it's not on the chopping block, I can tell you that. But everything's up for discussion. So like if we start getting a ton of feedback that's like people don't like this, then it goes back in the discussion pool. Master Sword, reset for 27 months in a row. Pew, pew, pew. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Glad to have you around. It's wonderful. I'm still shocked every time I see numbers that high. Every time. Any plans to include more time travel mechanics into active play, similar to Temporal Sanctum? Although the concept want more, but better. Yeah, I mean, so there's a few in there that are probably hidden that you may not have even realized. So like for example, Anomaly in Void Knight. It's sending someone forward in time, and then Volatile Reversal pulls yourself back in time. And so like there's some time travel mechanics in combat there. There's other skills we've concepted for future masteries that might also have some time implications in combat. And that's pretty far away though. Not, just to be clear, not for the ones that are coming up next. And as for like quests that involve time travel mechanics, yeah, there's also the a study in time quest in chapter 3, I want to say. That's pretty cool. Maybe chapter 4. I'm a big fan of it. I think we've kind of always wanted to do more stuff like that, and there's been a bit of a like there's so many other things to do to get really more complex quests like that in, but I'd be surprised if more don't find their way in at some point. I think there's also lots of room for like more dungeon mechanics in the future. So yeah, like the one of the core underlying, like if you're going to talk like pick 5 words to describe the themes in Last Epoch, time travel is one of the first that comes to mind for sure. And having that be more prominent, I think is a goal for us. Why is your game so much better than D4? Well, first off, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. It's wonderful. I'm gonna kind of dodge the question a little bit and say that I think that, you know, there's lots of things that people can find enjoyment in different games and all that sort of stuff, and better might be a little subjective, but do appreciate the like even just being in that conversation of like game, like a game genre that I grew up with, and you know, say wasted, but you know, look what we're doing now. It's not, I don't know if it's a waste of my childhood on. It's just surreal. So that's very cool. So thank you. And I think if we're gonna get into comparisons, I think there's there's more elements that's similar to the classic like Diablo 2 that you'll find in Last Epoch that I think a lot of people really resonate with, which is great. And there's tons of stuff that D4 does amazingly well. Like the one that always comes to mind first is the presentation, and their animations and the visuals are just stellar. I'm jealous of their animations. Let's be real here. And like I think that's something where I think that's a field that we've been improving in a ton lately, which is so cool. And there's new animations coming next patch that I think are really great. And like we're tying them in more specifically to individual skills. One of them's just a matter of scale for us. So we'd have like okay, well here's the mage's wand equipped spellcasting animation, and we just like we reuse it for all the spells, and then we started to slowly be like, okay, well like maybe this spell has a different wand equipped spellcasting animation, and like just starting to get more custom stuff for each situation, leading to feel more smooth and cohesive and all sort of stuff. And I think it's really starting to come through, which is great. Thank you very much to Infractus1. Or a fresh sub. Love it. Glad to have you here. Hope you're having fun. High health enemies take 25%. 25% less damage. We can deal with that. Is there an option to turn off the combat numbers? There is an option to turn off the combat numbers. Display damage numbers. It's like the third option. Boom. No combat numbers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in combat that we know is fairly divisive. So like combat numbers, health bar displays, what else? The enemy flash on hit. This one's pretty, and screen shake. So screen shake, enemy flash, and damage numbers. We know they're pretty divisive things of whether people really like them or really hate them is usually what comes up. Some people like, you know, it's indifferent, they'll play either way, but usually it's a pretty hard yes or pretty hard no if someone wants them, and so we made sure to make those as options. Personally, I really liked all those things, so I got them all turned on. If it's really bothering you, I could be talked into turning one of them off. I could be talked into that. Ooh, that's a nice idol. There we are. Frequently, if you're just starting out, health on idols is really good, just in general. Audio for loot drops, same as PoE. Current ones are a bit weak in volume. Yeah, there's there's a specific slider for audio for drops there. I know audio cues on loot drops is a topic we've been talking about a fair bit lately. Because like things, there's a bit of an issue that we have. It's not terrible, but you know it's definitely there, and we're discussing and trying to figure out how to do it better. Sorry, is conveying to players when an item drops off screen. So whether that's like a dot you had that finished something off after you ran away, or maybe a minion that jumped off a little bit in the distance to like kill something, or you know even just like you shoot a fireball and it goes real far. And having those important items be notified to you that you know you do have to go back and do that instead of having to like check behind you every few feet. So yeah, we're still working on that too. Any leaks? I do have leaks. Oh, I could be persuaded. Let's get a leak up. As soon as this one's done, I'll get a leak up. What have I missed? Me dying several times and not compensating with leaks. Any plans to add turning animations? I'm not sure if you mean for like the player or for enemies. There is some problems with enemy turning animations that we've come across. Getting to feel smooth and look good and not cause I guess problems like gameplay problems where you can like kite someone around in a circle just by running around them quickly. Usually when there's a conflict between gameplay and visuals, gameplay just wins. There we go. There's a bug right now on our main build where the portals you can't enter a portal immediately after opening it, and it was really frustrating me this morning. But we'll get it fixed. It was just, it bothered me. And like now that I'm back here and having the instant portals, and it's so nice. Any plans for Meteor Shower buff skill trees? Meteor always is a buff. What games do you play that when you want to escape ARPGs? Oh, good question. Civilization, and like just RTS. RTS. 4X games like turn-based strategy games are usually my go-to, like relaxing stuff. So like Civ 6, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Farthest Frontier. These are my go-tos for just like I'm gonna zone out for a bit and play some games. I've been pretty hooked on Tears of the Kingdom lately. Zelda's my if the only game that would give my all-time favorite game a run for its money is Ocarina of Time. So Zelda's in my blood. Top spot, still Diablo 2, probably. It's so hard to pick. If I ever want to take a break from them. Yeah, and it's less about taking a break from RPGs and just that, the RPGs just aren't the only genre that I love. Because, I love tons of genres of games, so... I've been trying to finish the... Ever since it came out, so Civ 6 has a thing where, like, if you beat the game with, like, when you win a game of Civ, it, like, puts that into, like, that game session into, like, this Hall of Fame thing, and it, like, shows you all the leaders you beat the game with and everything. And, they're releasing leaders faster than I can fill it up. Because, you only finish, like, 1 in 6 games, at least I do. So I finish a game of Civ 6, like, every 3 months I'll finish a game. at most. Oh, this Sabretooth's about to get messed up. it kind of wasn't a joke question. In your humble opinion, what makes your game better than D4? Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't really have much else to say on what I already said. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of maybe more traditional ARPG mechanics and functionality and things like that that are resonating with people. I think that's the biggest part of it. Also, skill trees. Our skills, all the skills have trees. That's one of the biggest things. I remember going to like early conventions when we were like doing like, oh come on. What? Mike, just when we were early on in the convention circuit, the game was still pretty young. Talking like 3 years ago here. Pre-COVID. And just don't die, Mike. And people would like come to our booth and be like, "Oh, what's this? Cool, neat." And we'd say something like, "Yeah, and every single we're gonna have like 110 skills." At that point, that was the plan, was 110, 110 skills, and everyone was gonna have their own skill tree. And they're kind of like, "Okay, yeah, right," or like, is it actually gonna be a full skill tree per? And then you like go into the game, you open one of the trees, and people are like, "Wait a second, every skill's gonna have this?" And that concept of just like every skill having its own full skill tree was just sort of a like a bit of a that can't be possible type moment. It's happening. It has turned out to be an unbelievable amount of work. It's so worth it. I'm curious, does the next patch likely include Town Hub fixes alongside the server improvements? Thanks. It should. We do have the Town Hub fixes. I think they're all working for our internal playtest stuff right now. They were working for our internal play stuff before the patch as well, so who knows? Someone slap me if I'm wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure yes. Because I think that was a pretty important part of last patch that got sadly cut after the fact, which was really unfortunate. Is there any benefit to elemental penetration beyond the 1% elemental penetration equals 1% more damage? Not really, no. It's basically another more modifier. It works a little differently against enemies that have resistance. Just like the amount of damage it's actually changing is more effective against things with high resistance. Right? Like if something's at if something's at 99% resistance, and you have 1%, so you're doing 1% total damage to that thing, and you have 1% penetration, it's now at 98% resistance, and you're now doubling your damage. So it's 100% more damage in that case. So it's more effective against things that have high resistance of that element. That's like a relative effectiveness, I guess. So if you know you're fighting things that are almost as a caveat here, almost everything in Last Epoch has 0 resistances, and unless it says under its name resistant to fire or something like that. And when it says like resistant to fire, for example, like the crabs in the desert are resistant to fire, and they have a fair bit. I think it's like 50% or something. Yeah, it's a glancing blow. I feel like if the daily mod for dungeons was a mob modifier instead of a reward modifier, it wouldn't have nearly as big of an impact to the should I run the dungeon, but still maybe be something that's challenging all the time. Since right now you got people hyped for the helmet day in Temporal Sanctum to farm fractured crowns and stuff. Don't mean to make this back and forth, just want to give some input. Yeah, that's cool, thanks. Appreciate the feedback. And yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. There's definitely a reason why it's not as it's not like a just universally great. Like there are downsides to it for sure. Can Fractured Crowns drop from Temporal Sanctum? That seems wrong. Or is it just like the setup items? You get more of the setup items you need to make it. Elemental dots. Oh, we don't do like dots at all. Unfortunate. Are you going to be watching ExileCon? Yup. The main stream for ExileCon starts like as soon as this stream finishes. And I just realized that I said I was going to show you guys a teaser, and I didn't. So I'm sorry. And I'm going to bring that up right now, because... yeah. Oh, here's a cool teaser I can give you. Random little extra one. Here's an extra teaser. When you have a minion out and you press A, if you didn't know this, when you have a minion out, you can press A to force the minion to go attack to go stand in a certain spot, or if there's an enemy nearby, you'll go attack the enemy that's there. So you can direct them out of AoE attacks, which they don't really need to do as much because it takes a little damage to AoE attacks. Or you can force them to attack a certain target if you want to like push them forward in the fight, that sort of thing. And now there's a little like so this little the arrows, those 4 little arrows, every time I click that show me where I'm moving. There's an alternate version, a colored alternate version of those for issuing a minion command. So now you see it happen and where it's actually issuing the command to. Haha! Tiny little extra thing. But here we go. Here is the art, just the art, for a new item coming next patch. Just the art. And it, just so the proportions make a little more sense, this is a wand. I can tell you that it's a wand. Master Sword asks, when is Gamescom? It's Gamescom with an M, not an N, by the way. I need to know when to go into hypervigilance mode. August 20th is when my flight is. And so I think the con starts on the 22nd, actually, because we're like going forward in time on the flight. Yeah, so I think it's the 22nd is the day that the convention actually starts. And your hypervigilance mode should be set for the start of the convention. Is the next patch bringing new masteries, and is it arriving sooner rather than later? Sooner being within the next 2 months. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to answer anything in that question at all. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer anything to that question. I wish I could. There's already answers. August 23rd to the 27th, sorry. Why am I flying out a day early then? Do I have an extra day in Germany all to myself? Oh my god. That's great. Sweet. I'm gonna see some sights. Alright. Just gonna slap this off to the side, minimize this a bit. There, it can hide over there while I keep playing. I love being able to instantly portal out by pressing T and immediately clicking over my dude. Feels so good. Yeah, it does. You don't get to see your sweet portals show up if you got like sweet like MTX portals, which is a little like I wish you could see it. But like we were looking at, this is what I was talking about earlier, where like if there's a conflict between like gameplay and visuals, gameplay wins. So You know, we made all these like MTX portals that are gorgeous and everything, and there's more coming and all that sort of stuff, and they're like got these cool opening animations that are really sweet and everything. And like there's the option for us to be like, all right, you can't go in a portal until the animation finishes, right? But the and that was how they were set initially, like internally for like a day, and we're like, nope. Can't happen. Got to be able to do it instantly. Because if you're portaling, or like if people can't portal out instantly, and like making them wait for the portals, they're just gonna alt F4. Like that's even worse. Are you gonna check out PoECon, ExileCon stuff? It start right as your stream ends. Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm gonna. I've got a link ready to go. I didn't even open my... Usually I've got stuff prepped, ready to go over here. Mic. Oh, mute tab, mute site. There we go. That was quick. That was close. Yes, I've got it ready. Will the characters now be resetted for 1.0? So, no. However, characters that you play now will not be eligible to compete in the ladder once 1.0 does release. So, when we release a new cycle, the ladder resets, and if you want to compete in the ladder and participate in that cycle properly, you'll have to make a new character. This is so that there's sort of a chance for everyone to have a fresh start, which a lot of people really like, a lot of people really don't like, and it's a chance for there to be a competitive environment at the start, so that there's this like it's a restarting that race. And I got a COVID shot a couple days ago. My arm is just killing me still, and yeah, so we are doing that. The usual follow-up question to that is like, will there be things that are exclusive to that cycle, the ladder, whatever you want to call it? And the vast majority of things, and at least initially, almost everything will be not exclusive. And like there might be some minor things we do. We're gonna look at details and specifically how that lines up later. We're not fully set on exactly how that relationship's going to be between cycle and non-cycle, cycle and standard, cycle and legacy. I think that's what we're calling it, cycle and legacy. And yeah, like the I know the things I've heard at least initially would be like there might be a unique item or something like that. But especially because there's so many things we want that we know we just want to add to the game, just to get that like that core functionality really tight and make that end game really enjoyable. At least initially, all those things that you would see in a typical, like, I'm gonna use PoE as an example. So the whatever like the league mechanic is in PoE will be rolled out to all of them simultaneously. So like all the standard characters and the cycle characters initially, because so many of the things we're doing in the initial cycles are stuff that we're like, if we could put ourselves in a time capsule for a year to like, if we could spend a year in a day and work on the game for that year, what we put into it, I mean, all those things are going to want to just roll right into standard right away. And we'll be looking to feedback from our players, and looking at like analytics for various things, and just seeing how we feel about it, and all that sort of stuff. And it'll evolve and grow and change as we get feedback and as the game progresses, all that sort of stuff. Do you devs like D4 or PoE better? I think there's a general feeling that most people prefer PoE, but it's definitely not a consensus. Like everyone's got their preferences for sure. But I think if you were gonna poll everyone in the studio, and just whichever one got more votes, you had to pick one. Whichever one got more votes, I'd say likely PoE would probably get more votes, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I bet it would be close, though. I bet it would be really close. Resonance thingies when they're ready. I don't know yet. I'm sorry. So in Civ 6, do you try to face tank enemy nukes with your cities and units? No, I'm way better at Civ 6 than I am at LE. Which is terrible. I know. No, I'm actually pretty good at Civ 6. That is... I recently got this, like, enhanced AI mod that's just insane. I was like... I could do deity before, which is the hardest difficulty. Not, like, a breeze, but I could do it every single time. And could, like, just autopilot through the immortal or whatever it is. Emperor. Immortal, I think. And now with this, like, AI add-on mod, I'm, like, struggling hard on Emperor. Which is the one below that. Fractured crowns cannot drop, but the more exalted helmet's daily modifier pops off for farming materials. Yeah, okay, cool, that's what I thought. How many unique set items are there, and which patch are the next 500 coming? 500? How many unique set items are there in total right now? I don't know. I bet you could find that number out pretty easily by looking at Tunklab or lastepochtools.com. And if I was going to guess, I'd say there's in the range of like 300 of them? 350? We've been adding like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them every patch, it seems, right now. Last few that we've just had a small number in a patch. Speaking of, here, let's put this bad boy up. Boom. New item coming. This is a new unique item for next patch. It's coming. It's ready to go. It's in the game, and it you know, we're really trying to incorporate more thematic parts to some of the dots that are in the game. So there's this pull in both directions. We really want the core basic dots like bleed, ignite, things like that to be pretty standard, to be pretty basic, to be pretty easy to understand, pretty straightforward. Not like low complexity there. But we do also really want to have room for more thematic evolutions of those mechanics, I guess you could say. And so this is supposed to be like helping bring that, like, I think this is a pretty standard mechanic for, like, if you're gonna have an extra mechanic on top of bleeding, having them take more damage from the bleed while they're moving it's a pretty standard thing. Like there's lots of games where if, like, oh, you've got a bleed on you and you stop moving, you take less damage, or you stop bleeding, or it expires faster, or something like that. And so this is kind of tapping into that a little bit. Yeah. And there was a little bit of new tech that had to be made for that. I don't want that. Sure, armor. We don't have a ton of armor, so that's not terrible. When 1.0 releases, will there be an option to start the campaign, but for level 100? No. Is the character limit going away for 1.0? No, the character limit is not going away. We won't ever have a point where it's just like, make as many as you want, have fun! But I do believe, I actually just posted today about expanding that character limit, and I'm we'll see how that goes. But I know that the online character limit, well, the offline character limit is so huge that that's fine. The online character limit is for some players, I think it feels very restrictive. I think the vast majority of people probably haven't noticed that there is one yet. Actually, I can tell you that the vast majority of players haven't hit the limit yet, or at least aren't sitting at the limit. I'll say that. And but I think the people that it is affecting, it's really affecting. So we do want to fix that for people. That limit, as I've said this before, but it's bear saying again, it's probably the limit that we put in place was not a design, like a game design decision. It was a let's play it safe and try and avoid potential catastrophic problems decision. But it looks like we're good, so. I'll be pretty surprised if that number doesn't go up pretty substantially. But I can't guarantee anything with it yet, just because it hasn't happened yet. Have you guys ever considered a corruption type system? Yes, like a one-time use crafting item that can be used on unique/set that has a chance to improve, add a mod, but could also break. Yes, we definitely have considered systems like that. Currently, our crafting system, like our main crafting system, like this, the forge right here, doesn't interact with unique items, I think, at all, apart from creating one unique item in a weird way. Fractured Crown, look it up, it's cool. And we don't really have any intentions to change that at the moment. However, the suggestion regarding, because we get this suggestion a ton, the specific suggestion regarding a corruption style mechanic for unique items that I personally like the most is one as a dungeon reward for a future dungeon. This game have an overlay map? Yep, there it is. Sorry, I usually play with it on. Personally, I'll play with it on. However, because it does obscure things a little bit, I have been asked to play with it off. So I usually stream with it off. But yes, it does have. There's an overlay map. It has settings for changing the zoom scale of it. Also has you can change the opacity. It does have some problems that it's like impossible to see in some zones, and we are working to improve that. It's not perfect yet by any stretch of the imagination, but we're working on it. Also, the mini-map's getting some upgrades this patch, and the quest log, this panel is getting some upgrades this patch, and this quest log, and this quest log. All sorts of stuff's happening. There's always stuff happening. I'm better in Civ 6 than LE. Yeah, I can believe that. Gee, thanks. Alright, how many juicy teasers do you have for us today, and how many leaks can you let slip? I only have one more little leak today. One more little teaser for you. You got me sharing everything so early today. Ah! No. I got one more for you. I don't really come into this with a plan of when I'm going to share any of the teasers. I just set them up and I'm like, whatever I feel like, and I'll show them. So sometimes they get shared really early, and sometimes they wait till the end, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta share something. I know you guys don't like to give us the option to hide uniques that we don't like, but what about the other direction, giving us the option to highlight stuff that we like even more? Not only uniques, but exaltants too, like with the beam. Yeah. So the oh no. Just got my hand caught on a thread on my shorts, and they just ripped a huge thread off. That's fine though. Yeah, there are some minor changes to the loot filter coming. I what you're hoping for is not happening yet. I'm sorry. There's a possibility it could happen later, but it's not happening this patch. I'm sorry. Want to buy more unique ones, please? Yeah. This one's sweet. This one's real sweet. Whoops, sorry about that. That's probably pretty loud. How likely will those boots roll with LP? As far as I know, their LP level is equal to their equip level, so whatever that number is down there. Are they 85, I think? And look, where is that? It's just too pixelated. Oh, 85, 48. Oh, I can read. I don't think they have an enhanced LP requirement. So medium. Would be my guess. Also, I also don't know what the roll ranges on any of those things are. Is there a non-cycle leaderboard for non-seasonal characters to compete in or no? Currently there's not. I don't think there's one planned at the moment. I'm actually quite confident there's not one planned at the moment. But, you know, as I like to say, we're always open to feedback and suggestions. Part of the problem with having like an eternal one like that is if there's ever a situation where like say there's one like cycle where things get a little out of control, and there's a build that does like this is also a problem with cycles too, and mid-cycle balancing and things like that. But say there's a build that has the potential to clear like 10,000 waves on the monolith, and there'll be other things that we'll do lattice for as well in the future. But arena's the only monolith arena. The arena is the only thing we have ladder for right now. So assuming there's, let's say we get to a point where there's like season 50 or cycle 15 has there's a sweet bard build that can get to 10,000 waves, and next cycle we fixed. It was a bug that caused that, or maybe or it's just a bad design decision, and so we nerfed that back to reality for the next cycle, and it's back to where all the other ones have been. But suddenly, no one can ever take the top spot on the Eternal Ladder ever again. And that sucks, you know? So then we kind of have to be like, okay, is it like resetting it every time? In which case it's just the same as cycle, except the characters don't start over. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And that's probably where we got to with having there be one for non-cycle characters. Hi, Mike. Hello. How you doing? Did you ever have a discussion about restricting ailments to certain damage types or skill tags? For example, Fireball is able to chill enemies if the character has chill chance somewhere, which may seem a bit odd. So chill chance can be tied to having cold skill or cold damage on the weapon. Has something like this ever come up? Yes, it has. I think I agree if there was if there was no magic in the world and it was a fully realistic setting, um, and like and all that. Yeah, I think that we would probably take an approach like that. Um, how does my fireball chill something? Because magic. I think is a perfectly acceptable reason for that. Um, and I think there's more interesting options that can come up from being able to do that than not. Um, I think there might be some room for, and generally this already works this way because when there's just general synergies between similarly elemented ailments and skills, so you'll just see skills that are cold skills able to get more chill chance easy, like just chill chance easier than normal. Um, so like if there was hypothetically the a build that like the best way to ignite enemies was with um was by using some skill that like had no business being the primary ignition skill, like tidal wave is the best ignite skill in the game. You're like, okay, that's kind of odd at best. um we'd probably do something to bring down the ignite capabilities of tidal wave. um but just having that as a possibility of being able to ignite, I think is something we'll keep around for quite a while. Uh, yeah, sorry if I sound like I'm focusing on teasers. That is totally fine. I live in Scandinavia, so I gotta go before stream evening gets going. Evening gets going. Yeah, it's late for you. I know. I'm sorry. Um, I know it's tough for some European and east of that viewers. Uh, and I appreciate that the majority of the exciting stuff for this stream is what gets spoiled and teased, and that's totally fine. Let's see, unique two-handed sword themed around Warpath. Is there nothing really? I mean, maybe not specifically Warpath, but I know there's lots of unique two-handed swords that have high synergy with Warpath. You know, you want something? Here, hit up the feedback and suggestions forum on our forums with a suggestion, an example of what you're looking for. And don't get too specific with the details of like how much of each stat it has. Focus on if you're gonna pitch something like this, just in just advice for anyone. If you've got like an idea that you got floating around and you really want like a Warpath synergy two-handed sword, make that the core of the pitch, and kind of ignore everything else. So just be like, maybe if you're like specking out the item and like writing lines of affixes, just be like, okay, it's got it's got this functionality with Warpath. That's a sweet affix. It's a unique affix. Like if I was gonna pitch Prism Wraps, let's say, that's a bad example. I don't know, like maybe this one here, like just have like mana synergy, spell synergy, and when you use movement or time travel skill, all stats in this item are tripled for 4 seconds. Like just have that like generic, like this is the theming of the item. These are roughly the types of things that I want to see on the item, like offensive, defensive, physical defensive ability, or fire offensive stats. And here's the stat that I think is really interesting and would be cool. And it's something that if you put like, okay, this has 12 strength and this has 8 endurance, and like you get these like really specific stats, a lot of time the focus on the discussion for that will end up being in the detail of those secondary effects and secondary stats, and not on the primary reason for wanting that item. Or like, oh, with that ability, that item would be so OP, or things like that, and just having like a broad, like, this is the interaction I'm looking for, will quite often yield better discussions, because people can also make other suggestions on like what types of other stats they'd like to see go with it. Scrolling. Oh my god! I caught up! Woohoo! Good job, everybody. Couldn't have done it without you. Oh, you know what? I think it's time for some water. Oh, someone has a question for me that I missed. Oh no. Oh yeah, if I tell you I caught up, and I'm like, if you have a question, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question so I see it. And if I skipped past your question because that wasn't there, or I just skipped past it because I suck, please feel free to repost your question. And I'll be happy to answer it. But I see that there's a question here above. Hello, I'm a casual player. Are your dev team planning a map adjustment to improve the navigation and all the stuff about? Oh no, I'm scrolling. About where we are, where we can go. I felt so lost about the map traveling. That's interesting feedback. Usually we get the exact opposite, and that it's too on rails. There's too much direction. Which is, I'm not saying one of them's right, one of them's wrong, or anything like that. But it's just interesting to get like multiple angles there. I think that there is room, especially in the campaign, if someone really wanted a more directed experience, to have that as an option. I can't say it's something that we are immediately planning. There are some just clarity issues with the map right now, and I think with the quest system specifically, and how the quest system shows you new stuff that's coming, and the quests you have, and which quests you should be focusing on, if you're not 100% familiar with that sort of thing, that we are improving. So I really briefly mentioned it a second ago, but I will be a little bit more clear about it, because it was so brief. Let's turn this off. On the right hand side of the screen here, there is this this quest thing, and you can click on it to bring up the quests you have. I think this gets a little muddy, a little confused, a little jumbled, a little like, okay, what's actually the most important thing? And it sometimes fades into the background on brighter stages as well. So we are working to improve the clarity and I don't know the right way to say this, but like restricting the information to be more important information, less more important information. So like less information, but have it focus on the stuff that's more important, a little bit smarter, and then give you the option to specifically pin specific quests over there as well. That'll help you stay on track, I think. So yeah, I think we're looking to give you better tools to interact with what's already there. and improve the clarity, but not necessarily actually give you more information. Just present that information better. Which I hope will help. And if it doesn't help enough for you, or does, or you know, either way, that is feedback I'd be interested in hearing. And thanks for the ping, Cyborg Wars, too. For that. Maybe a bit off topic. That's okay. We're in the back half. You can be off topic. But are you guys watching ExileCon later today? Yes. ExileCon starts as well. The pre-show starts in 4 minutes, so I will not be offended if people bail for that. But I will be, and the main show starts, like the main like keynote stage presentation, all that starts as soon as the stream ends. So the stream will end, and right as the stream ends, ExileCon's main presentation starts, and I've got that loaded up on another tab ready to go, so I will be stream end, flip over, and I'll be watching that myself. I'll probably hop in our voice chats and see if someone wants to watch it with me. I'm sure there will be lots. I do have a bunch of work to get done today still, though, so probably be working at the same time. Actually, I'll be working on the ordering of this quest side panel thing here. How that actually displays nicely. That's what I'm working on today. Also, I'm just thinking back about that question you were asking earlier, Bendis, about the map traveling. Another thing that you may not realize, if you click on a quest, it takes you to the map where that location is. And then on top of that as well, whenever you click on an area, we're adding a little thing here so it'll display the level of the zone that it is to kind of help you get a feel on where it is in the storyline. And then we're also marking a better chapter progression stuff, so you'll be able to see like where things, which chapter you're in, and then also having chapter cinematic delineation, so you'll be able to, and they're not full on CGI crazy cinematics, more in the style of the opening character intros that we have now. That'll help keep things in place. So yeah, it's just better presentation, really. Better let us hide quests under the minimap. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do it all right now here, but yes. The fewer will just show in general, anyways. So you won't frequently get into the situation where you're like, why are there 8 quests there that I don't care about? Alright, anything in the works to address really spammy builds killing online games even in solo? We are just improving performance all over the place all the time, so this should help with that in general. How often do you stream? When and for how long? Usually I stream weekly, for 2 hours, from an hour and a half ago to half an hour from now, depending on your time zone. So if you're like Central United States, it's from 3 till 5 p.m. every Friday. And there are some exceptions, like I'll take holidays off, or every once in a while if there's like a huge event happening, I won't do it, or if we've like just released a patch, I also won't do it, just because there's usually we have there's a lot of community members that are streaming at that time, and we don't like to take away from them. Okay, more questions. I can do that. Are there going to be more / better target farming options coming with 1.0 or soon thereafter? First cycle, maybe yes. 1.0 will have new, exciting, interesting target farming options. We've teased those in a devlog from like 6 months ago. With the item faction system, we'll bring that. Are they gonna be? Oh yeah, I already answered that. Hey, hi, how's it going? Any plans to resurrection teammates in boss rooms? It's kind of demotivating when one beats it and the other person dies. They have to refill the whole bar again. Nothing specific on the plans. No. I think there's yeah, it's definitely tricky to like decide how that works and the best way to do it because there has to be a death penalty of some sort. And like in the scenario that say someone just is like able to the ability to pull like low level characters through that content and still have them get full credit for doing literally nothing. Like just walk in, die, wait for the fight to happen, get credit. It's a little undesirable, I want to say. It's not the end of the world, but there's something kind of cheap about it. Might be the wrong term. I don't know. We're not huge on that idea in general. And it is frustrating to have legitimate examples where like maybe you're playing as a team and there's a huge attack coming in and one person's like, I'll sacrifice myself to save you so you can finish the fight, and you beat it together as a team, and like you did it together as a team, and there's like a legitimate effort there, and there's like the sacrifice was the like a means to an end to finish the fight and have a successful overall combat. And like that sucks to have that person that made that sacrifice not get the reward for it. So I think there's room for improvements there, but right now it is intentional the way it is, which is probably not the ideal answer for you. I'm sorry. You mean in addition to the two factions? Nothing specific I can talk about. But if you're asking for it, you might be underestimating the depth there. So you're saying me doing a D4 world boss at level 6 isn't ideal? Yes, I would argue that that's not ideal. I would suggest that most people would argue that's not ideal. Oh, my nose is so itchy today. How old is the mage class character? That's a good question. I would suggest he's probably pretty old, but he's making up for some of his maybe aging physical characteristics with magic to make himself pretty agile in his age. Like, let's clear these off. Man. 80? He's spry for an old guy. What items we want here? That was a nice idol. Yeah, that window's gonna have to get closed. If you heard that popping sound, that was a little one running past the window with a fake lawnmower toy thing that they love. What's this? Give me that! I want it! I need it! Okay, more questions. I did die quite a few times, though. Good. Punishment. I'm just kidding. Any current characters level next to your name, easy way to spot them. Add current character levels next to your name. Oh my goodness. Add current character levels next to your name, easy way to spot them. Oh, like people leeching? I mean, you kind of have. There's no like open world aspects. You kind of have to add someone, and you can see people next to the party. Like you can see character levels in party frames. This this echo is, I think, a little bit above my power level. Feels like I'm kind of getting my butt handed to me. It's because there's avalanche casters, isn't it? They know that's my weakness. Here we are. Okay, did you guys ever consider a holy damage type? Yes, seems like holy themed spells are split between fire and lightning. We did absolutely consider a holy damage type. We went back and forth on the specific damage types that were in the game so many times, and considered changing them pretty recently, actually, relatively recently, not that recently. Oh, come on, Mike, don't die now. And yes, we definitely consider holy as a damage type. It kind of it juxtaposes nicely with void, was one of the big reasons to have it, but we kind of felt like there's sort of these like more like there's the three elemental ones: standard, basic, everything's got it. Physical, standard, basic. Like these four are like the core damage types. These four right here, those were gonna happen pretty well no matter what. And then it was sort of a debate on these ones and possibly holy. And then like shadow comes in as an option, but shadow's so close to void that void takes that one no problem. And there's nothing that's really in the yellow color spectrum. We do have something sometimes where lightning maybe could be switched to yellow, but so like holy yellow, there's an even number of them, but like there was a large debate over this. Yes. Very large. Ultimately, we felt that fire, for the most part, would handle almost every use case of holy damage nicely, and we do now have holy fire as a VFX element. So like there's whenever you hit someone with like lightning, for example, there's like a little bit of a lightning effect that happens on them, or whenever you cast something with lightning, there's like a lightning spell casting effect around you. There's like little tiny effects here for extra theming that it's hard to tell them apart from the skills that you're using, but they do happen. And there's a unique, so like fire damage that's dealt from a holy source has a different, all those effects are slightly different for holy fire than they are for regular fire now. So VFX wise, we are distinguishing the two, but mechanically they are not just different. I find myself in the corner. Oh boy. Oh, that's what happens when I drag that onto the screen slightly. I think that might be like the first time I've done that. Okay. Next question. When will you add first-person camera you promised? Pretty sure that was an April Fool's joke? Question mark? No, we're not seriously gonna add it. Just in case that's a serious question. We're not actually gonna add a first-person camera as a serious game camera mode. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but there are no plans for it. There are actively plans against it. It's not avalanche. That's your nemesis. It's incoming damage in general. Why do you hate me so? No. That's a good point. All right, next one. Oop, here we go. Where's the next tag? When it comes to trade faction, how hard will it be to obtain the currency to sell and buy items? Every time you kill an enemy, you'll get some of it, or like progress towards. Like it's just killing enemies. So real easy. there's no like there's no random drop luck associated with it. It's just killing enemies. Which is the same way to get the favor, which is the term for it. It's the same way you get favor for Circle of Fortune, it's killing enemies. You only get favor for the guild you're currently representing. So the faction you're currently representing. Sorry. So if you are representing Circle of Fortune and you kill enemies, you get Circle of Fortune favor. If you are currently representing the Merchants Guild and you kill enemies, you get Merchants Guild favor. And then you use that favor to interact with the systems for those factions. So as you spend Circle of Fortune favor in order to interact with Circle of Fortune mechanics, like buying prophecies, things like that, and then you spend favor, you spend Merchant's Guild favor on interacting with the Bazaar. Buying, selling items, it costs some amount of favor based on what you're buying and selling. Woo! Got it. All that information, by the way, if you are interested in looking it up again or referencing it or more detail, is available in the Item Factions development post, dev blog post that went out originally. It's on the forums. And there's a little drop down at the bottom of it that says FAQ that has like extra scenarios and details and specifics and all that sort of thing. And a ton of information is there. So if you're like, I wonder if this edge case works, likely it's in that FAQ. We updated that FAQ as people were asking questions on that thread. So like it's got answers to most questions on there. I want that ring, but I think I'm gonna die if I stay here. Oh no. This is the problem with instantaneous portals. You do it too fast. Oh, I just did it twice in a row. I'm just like spamming it. It's fine. There are worse things. Beer drop rate versus Red Ring of Alaria. Is it Alara? Do I not know the name of that item? Anyways, it doesn't matter. If you play very potion aggressive and have increased potion drop rate, probably the ring actually is rarer. Where were we? We were up here, weren't we? That was the one we just did. We got credit for that. We must have. I don't like enrage at half health. I do like just straight increased damage. That's fine. Another faction question. Happy to. When they come out, will we be able to sell all possibilities that they have before choosing one? See all possibilities that they have before choosing one. Yeah, I think so. If it's not in the UI in game, I'm sure it'll be on a website somewhere. All possibilities might be tricky. So there's, for example, the Circle of Fortune. You won't be able to see when you're selecting one. You won't be able to see like every single. For example, you won't be able to see every single. What are they called? Prophecies that are available. But I suspect that all of the rank rewards, something that there's a few example rank rewards in that document, in that dev blog. There's not all of them. There's some of them. Each rank will have its own rank reward, and so there's a selection of some examples of things in the style that we're deciding on for those. So it's possible that all of those will be visible. I don't know yet. I will say though that the for the vast majority of players, we're trying to design the item. We're designing the item faction system such that almost everyone, the decision for which one to play comes down to do I want to interact with trade or not? Do I want to interact with trade? Item guild. Merchant's Guild. Do I not care about? Oh my god! I just take my hands off the keyboard. Do I not care about trading? We're going straight to Circle of Fortune. It's just like, do I care about trade or not? That's the whole decision making process. And they're like, if you're kind of on the fence there, if you're like, well, like if the not trade rewards are good enough, then maybe I'll go not trade, or like, like if you're on the fence, then yeah, getting into the nitty gritty is really good. And we do want to have a little bit more information available there for players that do want that. And I died, so as is customary, look at that cute little guy. Look at that cute little guy. It's just want to give him a little pet. Just a nice little pet. Just this little hair. Let's go. Ah, my head! Yeah. Sorry about that. Are you guys worried about trade prices will go to like billions since trade won't let people get super wealthy depending on how it works? Would let people get super wealthy depending on how it works. Yeah. So the we have a lot of stuff in place to deter things like that from happening. And I would say the main thing there is just the like a limited number of listing slots and buying and selling costing favor. So you'll like cornering the market on low level items won't really be a problem, and there will still be a market for selling low level items. So like players that are dealing in these hypothetically billions-dollar items won't care about at all dealing in these low-level items, and there will still be room to sell them. So even if you are, there's kind of a thing that happens where like, okay, maybe you're finding your character that's strong enough, that's doing enough high-end stuff, super high-end stuff, that's doing things to find these super expensive items, and you're also finding a ton of these like lower level items, and you can either flood the market with it or try and corner the market on certain things, and those types of situations won't really happen because of the restrictions that are on that trade system. Um, which I think will be positive overall. Which we do fully understand that there are people who really want to have that free market trade experience, and it's not going to hit the right notes for that free market trade experience that you're seeking. Where playing the market is like a huge portion of the enjoyment, and oh, I still got that thing up, don't I? Sorry. And it's unfortunate that we won't be able to deliver for people who are looking for that experience. But we won't be able to deliver for people that are looking for that experience. And that's like I don't know if there is a trade system, like a trade system that can exist. There might be. I don't know if there is or not. That is like ideal for everyone. I think there's just so many dissenting opinions on what is ideal that having all of those coexist is unreasonable to attempt. And we're trying to hit as many as possible and cast as wide a net as possible in this type of category. I think we're going to do a really good job of that. But there's going to be unfortunately, and we're like, it sucks. There's going to be people who it's not gonna resonate perfectly with. And I think we would rather have a system that's super awesome for 98% of people than a system that's for everyone. And I hope we get there. I think we will. I'm pretty confident in it, so we'll see what happens. Loot filter's like, yeah, you don't want anything here. That was a good one, though. Will there ever be tradable crafting materials? It would be cool if some of those could become a type of currency. We don't plan on having them become a type of currency. I mean, it's possible, but no, the currency is gold. Tradable crafting materials, we're not planning on it at the moment. It's possible, that sort of thing. The initial version, and unless in our testing internally we get to a point where we're like, oh my god, crafting materials have to be tradable. This was crazy. What were we thinking? Initial version will not have craftable trading materials. Tradable crafting materials. You can't do enough volume because of the favor system to single-handedly wreck the market, basically. Yeah. Basically. There is no way I survived this arena. Like, zero chance. Oh, I just kicked my brand new fan. It's okay, girl. It's okay. My fan died the other day, so new fan. I love those cheapo giant box fans. They're great. Sorry if that was horribly loud in the headset too. I think the auction house system is a really good start for dealing with a lot of the problems that PoE has, such as price fixing, and the favor system, as long as it's not too restricting, sounds in theory like a good way to restrict how much someone can control certain parts of the market. Yeah, and the actual the cost of everything on like the favor costs of everything and how all these restrictions line up and all that sort of stuff is going to be something that we pay very close attention to, and I have no doubt that it'll change and be adjusted based on like what we see happening. Like maybe there needs to be some sort of favor sync for people who want to interact with Merchant's Guild but don't want to do very much actual stuff on the bazaar but still want to get some use out of their favor. Maybe there needs to be like a specific favor cap in case someone's like hoarding it and then like dumping it and causing problems, or I don't know. There's so many ways we can adjust how we designed the system with a ton of little dials in the plans that we're going to need to turn those dials a lot, at least initially, to get things really solid. And having these things designed one way can sometimes fall apart at scale. And we'll do our best to, like, we'll run simulators and we'll set up a bunch of bots to interact with this and run simulations and have like different behavior patterns and behavior pattern ratios and all these things to like try and like design this to make it tightened up before we like release it mass and all sort of stuff. But like we can't predict how people are going to interact with it exactly. There might be some like way of interacting with it that we didn't even consider that gets discovered in the first 10 minutes and everything falls apart and we got to change stuff. And we're not afraid to make those adjustments, especially early on, to really make things feel nice. And it's going to come down to a lot of feedback, I think. And I have no doubt we'll get a ton of feedback. All right. ExileCon's stream is starting real soon. Well, it's already going, but the keynote address is starting real soon. Can we get more gold from the NPCs when we sell uniques, please? Probably not. But maybe. I'll think about it. Similar to the complexity yet simplicity of the build system being elegant, I hope that I am confident that will be. I hope and am confident that will be mirrored with trade elegant gray instead of black and white in the middle. Yeah. Yes. Definitely. And we'll be looking at options for things like suggested pricing for things where we can like look at the whole market automatically and just be like, this is how much this is worth, or and stuff like that. There's all sorts of tools that we can give players to interact with the system better, and we do want that process to be, if someone is I don't really like the term casual, but like if someone isn't putting in a large amount of time into the game, into learning these systems, and they just want to like toss something up for sale, or just snag something, and they don't want to do a ton of research behind it, we do want the tools that they have available to be pretty good at not having them get ripped off. And we obviously can't prevent that from completely. If someone puts a pair of white boots up for $1 billion gold and someone buys it, great. That happened. But like we do want to give players the tools they need to interact with the system smoothly and confidently without doing a ton of research, but also the opportunity for players who do want to put in that time and effort to get a little bit of extra value out of it, probably. And like I think experienced players will thrive in a system like that. As of right now, is the favor cost associated with the gold price of an item in the bazaar, or is it based on something else? Something else. It's not based on the gold price of the item. That might be something we tie it to if we find that's something that needs to happen, but no, it is based on the item type right now. So like legendary items cost more favor to sell than a rare item, for example. Oh yeah, it's happening. uh, oh no, I accidentally portaled out. Okay, that's great. Thanks for coming by, everyone. I had a great stream. I'm running out of here real fast. Bye. I had a great time. I hope you did too. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. Please head over to our Discord forums. I'll answer it there. Lots of great people. We'll be here same time, same place next week. Have a great time. See you later. Bye.